For decades, we were led to believe that Alzheimer's is just a disease of the elderly, an inevitable consequence of age or genetics. It's normal to forget names, dates, places. That's just part of aging, they said. But modern science shows something different and frightening. Alzheimer's is not just about aging or genes. It's about brain metabolism, sugar, and insulin resistance. In other words, what you eat every day may be shaping the future of your brain. Researchers now call this form of brain dysfunction type 3 diabetes, a metabolic brain disease caused by changes in the way your cells process glucose. Most people associate insulin only with diabetes and blood sugar control. But the brain also depends on this molecule. Brain insulin is essential for transporting glucose to neurons, the brain's primary energy source, forming and strengthening neural connections, which are critical for memory and learning, regulating antioxidant processes and fighting inflammation. When the brain becomes insulin resistant, just like in type 2 diabetes, neuronal cells can no longer use glucose efficiently. This leads to accumulation of toxic proteins, such as beta amyloid and tau, progressive neuronal degeneration, memory loss, mental confusion, and cognitive decline. In other words, what you consume daily can literally clog your brain. Excess sugar does not just harm your weight or pancreas, it directly impacts your brain. Studies show that diets high in glucose and simple carbohydrates increase brain insulin resistance, intensify neuronal inflammation, stimulate the production of beta amyloid, the protein that forms plaques in the brain. In other words, that daily dessert, soda, or white bread may be silently contributing to brain damage that will only appear years later. Researchers at Boston University and Harvard Medical School observed that brains with Alzheimer's showed insulin resistance comparable to that found in patients with type 2 diabetes. Other studies published in journals like Aging Research Reviews and Diabetes, Obesity and Metabolism showed genes responsible for glucose processing in the brain were deactivated in people with Alzheimer's. The higher the insulin resistance, the greater the accumulation of tau and beta amyloid proteins. The hippocampus, the brain area responsible for memory, shrank as brain glucose was not utilized properly. The conclusion is clear. Alzheimer's may be a metabolic disease, not just a genetic one. The term type 3 diabetes was coined to describe this insulin resistance in the brain. While type 1 and 2 diabetes mainly affect the body, type 3 directly affects the brain. This means you can have normal blood glucose levels and still be developing Alzheimer's. The process is silent, occurring years before symptoms appear. Therefore, focusing on low-sugar diets, physical exercise, and insulin control is not just about losing weight or preventing diabetes. It's about protecting your brain. The good news is that unlike genetics, lifestyle is something we can control. Proven strategies to protect the brain include 1. Reduce simple carbohydrates and sugars, sodas, sweets, white bread, and ultra-processed foods. 2. Adopt a diet rich in healthy fats and proteins, avocado, nuts, fish, and eggs. 3. Regular physical exercise, walking, running, or strength training improves brain insulin sensitivity. 4. Adequate sleep. Sleeping 7 to 9 hours helps eliminate brain toxins, including beta amyloid. 5. Stress control. Elevated cortisol harms neuronal function and insulin sensitivity. Some studies are also investigating medications used for type 2 diabetes, such as metformin, which may protect the brain by reducing inflammation and improving neuronal metabolism. There is no magic pill, but understanding that Alzheimer's is closely linked to brain metabolism completely changes the approach to prevention. From today on, every dietary choice matters. Every physical activity, every night of good sleep, every moment of stress control, all contribute to protecting your brain. While traditional medicine focused only on age or genes, we now know that we can act before symptoms appear. Alzheimer's is not an inevitable sentence. It is, in many cases, a consequence of our lifestyle. For decades, we were conditioned to accept Alzheimer's as something natural. But modern science shows us that we don't just have to accept it, we can act. Sugar is more dangerous than previously thought. It doesn't just make you gain weight. It doesn't just cause diabetes, it can slowly destroy your brain. Calling Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes is not alarmism. It's a scientific warning. Every meal you eat may be shaping your mental future. Every healthy choice is a real defense against brain degeneration. The question is, will you continue living on autopilot, or will you take control of what you eat, what you do, and what you think to protect your mind? Did you like the video? Then subscribe to the channel